Hi guys and welcome to Married with Clix, and tonight we are talking about the rare but interesting capture ability. So the capture ability has actually been one of those abilities in the rulebook that we've had since almost the beginning of the game, but it's very rarely implemented. Very few characters end up actually getting this ability, so it's not one that players themselves tend to read up on or learn about because it, like I said, rarely comes into play. So today I'm going to teach you guys how this capture actually works. Now, the characters themselves, there's no combat symbol or pack ability, standard power that gives capture. It'll be usually a special power or a trait that'll say this character can use the capture ability. On that note, I'd want to specify that the Batman 66 TV set, the Elaborate Death Trap, is not the capture ability and does not follow the capture ability rules. So capture itself is give this character a power action and make a close combat attack that deals no damage against a single opposing character with the standard or tiny damage symbol. Targets that can use phasing, teleport, or plasticity modify their defenses by +2 for the attack. If the attack succeeds, the target character is captured and is called a captive. So just on that, giants, colossals, anything big cannot be captured. The character itself has to actually have the small starburst or tiny symbol to be able to be captured. And if that character can use, it doesn't say possess, so if they can use, so rather from relic, resource, special power, however they're getting it, if they can use phasing, teleport, or plasticity, they get +2 to their defense against that roll. It is a close combat attack, you can't capture at range, and it also is an attack that deals no damage, so if you happen to roll a critical miss while trying to capture, you're not going to deal yourself damage because you weren't planning on dealing damage to your opponent. The character that is captured themselves is removed from the map. Once they are off the map, following all rules on that, they will clear action tokens when they need to, and none of their powers or abilities can be used or activated while they are off the map. They're basically just not in the game for that section. A character that can use capture can only have 3 captives at a time. It can't capture another character until at least one of the captives is rescued or released, and it can't make close combat attacks while it has somebody captured. So basically what you are doing once you have had your successive captive, you want to run to the other side of the map or run back basically to your starting line. If the character has been knocked out while they still have a character captive, the captive character comes back onto the map in the last square that the KO'd character occupies, and the game goes on as normal. Now, there are 2 ways to get rid of the captives, either releasing them or rescuing them. So releasing a captive is when the character that has used capture occupies its starting area. This character can be given a power action to release one of its captives into an adjacent unoccupied square, also in the starting area. A released captive is immediately defeated, and this character's player receives additional victory points for the released captive equal to 50 points or the released captive's point value, whichever is less. So basically, what you want to do, run back to your starting area. Once you're in your starting area, you do have to be given a power action to release that captive. Once they're released, they're put in a square adjacent. So you want to make sure that wherever you're going in the starting area, there is a square where you can put them next to you. And then they're immediately defeated, so they are KO'd. You are going to score points for them. And then on top of scoring points for them, you're going to score an additional either 50 or whatever points there were. So if there was a little guy, there's a lot of smaller guys now at 45 points, 30 points, 20 points. So whichever one is less. So if the character themselves was only a 20-point character that you captured and released, you're only going to get the 20 points. Otherwise, if it was 50 or more, you're going to get the extra 50 points on top of the KO points for defeating the character. The other way to get rid of a captive is releasing it. Now, this is something that the opposing force is going to be able to do. Characters friendly to a captive can attempt to rescue that captive. To do so, give a friendly character a power action. It makes a close combat close combat, or range combat attack that deals no damage against the target character that captured the captive. The target modifiers its defense by -1 for the attack for each of its captives. If the attack succeeds, the attacker chooses a friendly captive. The captive is rescued and put into an unoccupied square adjacent to the target of the attack. The rescued character now has 1 action token regardless of how many it was previously assigned. It can be given an action in the same turn it is rescued, but it is pushed normally. So, when you are trying to rescue a captive, you can make either closer range, unlike actually capturing the character. Counter or rescuing the captive can be closer range combat. And they are going to get -1 to their defense for each person they have captive. So they can have up to three minus of their defense. So basically, the more people you're trying to capture, the easier it is for the opposing team to rescue that character. If they succeed in rescuing them, they get to choose which one of your captives gets released, put into an adjacent square. They get an action token, and then you go on with the rest of your turn. There is one more thing called countering capture. When capture would be countered, roll 2d6. If the result of the roll is not doubles, capture is not countered. If captured is countered, all captives of this character are rescued immediately. So basically, if you are in a position where you can outwit the character's ability to capture, that if it's coming from a special ability, or you somehow are able to counter traits, rather than it just being the regular free action from outwit, you do have to roll the 2d6, and as long as it's not doubles, you are allowed to outwit counter that capture. Once capture has been countered, then you end up releasing all captives regardless of anything else. Everybody that character using capture had captured previously now all comes onto the board, and following other rescue rules, they'll all come onto the board with an action token, and they can all take actions that turn but will push regularly. So that was capture. This is an ability that is very rarely seen in the game, but can get complicated if you are not used to seeing it. But thankfully, this is actually one of the abilities that is very well explained in the rulebook itself. There aren't too many weird special rulings around it. It's pretty straightforward, even though it's not something we see very often. So if you do have any comments, questions, concerns, just let me know down below, and we'll see you guys next time for another episode of Dial It Up.
Married with Clix is brought to you in part by MajesticCCG.com. Check out the new premium site with MajesticCCG.com/Apex-Insiders. Check the link below. Trust me. Trying to remember that from me talking? Not going to help. You'll get awesome articles at $3 a month, with the first month being free, from amazing writers such as Paris Gordon, Easton Brock, Aaron Cantu. I'm even going to be contributing occasionally. And if you're familiar with the Meta Lab, check out some of Mike Payne's articles. So check it out again, MajesticCCG.com/Apex-Insiders for your look into the minds of some of the greats.